Boom! Just like that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back for the epic conclusion of what we're doing here at the St. Helena Wine Pavilion at the Napa Valley Film Festival at the Carnegie Building, Napa Valley. Here with CellarPass, here with Taste Live, doing it live. I'm the Mutineer, Alan Kropf. No messing around, folks. Flora Springs. We got Richard here. How you doing, sir?
Doing excellent, Alan. Doing excellent.
We're gonna drink some wine.
We're gonna drink a great wine.
And you were telling me a whole lot of fascinating things about Flora Springs, and I think I'm just gonna get out of your way and let you do a little bit of talking and give us the Flora Springs 101 throwdown.
Well, you know what? It's actually Flora Springs 100. Play on words there. Flora Comas turned 100 years old, the matriarch of our winery, on Monday. So there's a whole lot of really great marketing going on at the winery, a lot of good energy as Flora is the third largest family-owned grape growing company in Napa Valley, but we only keep 20% of all the grapes that we grow. So it's a lot of fun being affiliated with this winery, a lot of energy, a lot of education and study and science goes into this particular wine, the 2008 Trilogy.
2008 Trilogy.
Yes, sir.
What are the grapes going into this bottle here?
Well, we're not really ever tied into one particular grape. So it's always a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Petit Verdot, Malbec, or Cab Franc. So we'll taste each varietal after it's fermented, and we'll start doing a blending seminar after about a year of the wine being in barrel, and we'll come up with the final blend anywhere from 18 months to 24 months.
Okay, so you just kind of roll with what you got and adapt.
Well, we're very fortunate being a landowner that Flora Springs is to source grapes from some of the best vineyards in Napa Valley. So once again, it's all Rutherford fruit, but sometimes we'll be able to source a little bit of Oakville for maybe some different tannic structure or a different color. But the blend in the 2008 vintage is Cabernet Sauvignon, 79%, 16% Merlot, 2.5% Petit Verdot, and 2.5% Malbec. So we have some really nice dark flavors from the Cabernet Sauvignon, really nice darker Bing cherry flavors from the Merlot. And then the Malbec and the Petit Verdot add a little more, maybe a little color and a little spice.
What's the price point on this?
Retails for $65.
Okay.
But we can charge you more if you like. So trust us. We'll go up if you like, Alan.
And we have viewers from all over the country tuning in.
You
and
bet.
If they would like to find a bottle of this, what are some of the different ways they can go about doing that?
Well, the Flora Springs Wine Club would be the #1 way to get the wine. We ship now to just about every state that's a reciprocal state, but that would be the first and foremost way to contact us at florasprings.com and join the wine club, and we'd be able to ship you the wine.
And can you talk a little bit about the wine club and how that works?
Oh, you bet. We have two exciting wine clubs. One is called the Preferred Palate. We're known for making Cabernet Sauvignons from different AVAs, American viticulture areas, which we make 5 of. So our wine club, they're almost wine collectors because they know the style of wine that we make. It's very elegant, but very structured, very long-lasting as well. So as far as the wine club, we have a preferred palate club, maybe for a more discerning palate, and then we have a great taste club for somebody who's looking to try maybe a red and a white wine every single month. So we're almost able to structure a wine club after your tastes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I don't think the viewers could hear it, but we had like a dance party going on in the background just a moment ago from a passing car. It was like Rio Carnival or something.
Excellent. Welcome to Napa Valley / Rio.
Tasting room. You guys have a beautiful tasting room, and it should be mentioned that, again, the folks from CellarPass are helping us put on this production. And for visitors wanting to check out the tasting room, they can book their reservation for free online through CellarPass.com. What are some of the things that visitors can experience at Flora Springs?
Well, I have to honestly say, I grew up in Napa Valley. I'm 5 generations from Napa Valley. So when Flora Springs was putting together this really groovy, and I like to use the word groovy, tasting room, there are a lot of folks, you folks that are traveling from all over the U.S. that are coming to Napa Valley that want to experience a cave. I want to walk in, I want to taste a wine in a cave, but I don't have time to visit the winery. So what we did at Flora Springs, it's now the third generation sons running our property, and Nat Comas is the general manager currently, and it was one of his visions and idea to accommodate that person by having caves built into our tasting room. So when you walk into the Flora Springs tasting room, there are 3 caves built in there, so you could actually grab a glass of wine, walk into a cave, take a picture, yeah, I was in a cave, and then go to your next winery. But if you're looking for the actual cave experience, the winery was built in the late 1880s, about a mile away from the tasting room, and you're able to take a tour actually through caves and barrel sample, and it's a really educational and fun tasting.
So having such huge access to a diverse source of grapes, what other bottlings does Flora Springs play around with and put out there into the world?
That's a great question. One of the first wines that put us on the map was barrel fermented Chardonnay, which we started making in 1979. So we're definitely known for an exciting Chardonnay. Our Sauvignon Blanc is also from a single vineyard. What kind of sets Flora Springs, I think, apart, or maybe on another level, is they focus more on spot versus making a quantity of one wine. If we can make one great wine from one particular spot, that's all we're going to do, and then maybe sell some of the grapes to some of the other producers in the valley.
Is there a special bottling that has significance for you right now, or that you're really enjoying drinking?
You know, I have to say it's the 2008 Trilogy.
Yeah, which is why you brought it, right?
Yes, sir. I've always been a fan of this wine, and it seems like this wine gets better each vintage because of what excitement that particular vineyard that we own can bring. So we're not always locked into this particular site. We're able to source the best grapes from the best site. So this is a wine for me personally that I always get excited about, and I really am a big fan of the 2008.
Nice. Control panel people, do we have any feedback from the world? Any questions, any comments, any concerns, any jokes, any of the above?
Hold on from behind the umbrella.
It's a riddle, I think. I think we're supposed to figure that one out on our own.
Pay attention to the person behind the screen.
Okay, that's okay. Well, it is raining today, and our computers have been a little bit on the fritz, so I'm sure that they're working that out right now. Can you talk a little bit about the last couple of vintages here in Napa Valley, and most specifically the 2011?
Well,
Here's the question.
Or hold that thought, I guess.
Okay, that's a great question.
What are some of the biggest changes you've seen in wine from the 80s and 90s to now?
Well, that's a great question. I think we're seeing it as the American palate evolves. We're looking at wines that have that ageability, but also the immediate appeal. So we're asking for the best of both worlds, and as winemakers and grape growers, we're actually starting to deliver a wine that has ageability and immediate appeal, like the 2008 Trilogy. That's a good question.
I agree.
Happy 100th birthday.
Do I look that old? But yes, Flora appreciates that.
So I think you can go back to the earlier question.
Yes, vintages, last 3 years. What do we got going on?
Well, I think that's a great question. You'd mentioned, I'll tackle the end of that question was the 2011 vintage. And first of all, the rain that we're having in Napa Valley, we like to call it liquid sunshine because it does help what we're trying to make and produce here. 2008 or 2011 vintage, a little challenging. Had a little bit more rain than we normally get. June 13th, we had about a ½ inch. So what that does, obviously, it slows down the growth. But at Flora Springs, we have a very cutting edge sorting machine. So what that does is no matter what type of growing season you have, that machine is almost able to just spit out the grapes that wouldn't make a great wine like Trilogy and just give you the berries to make a great wine like Trilogy. And then going back to the last couple vintages, that's another just fabulous question if you're really around a wine like Trilogy, because it's a blend of Cabernet, like I mentioned, Cabernet Merlot, Petit Verdot, Cab Franc, Malbec. It can be any of those 5. And when you're tasting the different blocks at each vintage, you're able to see your notes from the last 5 or 10 or 15 years, like, wow, I really like the Malbec in 2008. I really like the Petit Verdot in 2009. So when you're putting a blend together like Trilogy, you're really able to see the best of each vintage. So, you know, once again, in Napa Valley, in a 10-year cycle, you really have some exciting vintages. You might have 1 or 2 that are excellent, but hardly do we have a vintage that's super challenging. So at Flora Springs, we have some famous people working there. Our winemaker, Paul Steinhauer, 23 years.
Nice.
You know, the Comas family, Garvey family has owned the winery 37 years. So we're very fortunate to make a nice wine like Trilogy.
And you already said that this is, you know, one of your favorite wines at
Yes,
the
sir.
moment.
Mhm.
What is your go-to guilty pleasure food pairing with this wine? I don't want to hear steak.
You're not
me
gonna,
something
yeah,
good.
you're not gonna hear steak when you talk about Trilogy at the winery. We, you know, we love Merlot at that winery and always have. So we love lamb.
Okay.
We love, you know, even a pork chop.
Okay.
Most of all, I would have to say, you know, duck is a very nice pairing with
How are you
this
making
wine.
your duck with this wine?
Well, you know what? That's another great question. I was recently at Great China restaurant in Berkeley. Just a fabulous restaurant, and we ordered a bottle of Trilogy, and the owner chef James Liu, he's all, Richard, I'm going to bring out a Peking duck. And when someone says Peking duck, to me, I think might have a little too much fat. But he had drained it all off and dabbed it a little bit, and when it came out, I'll tell you what, that was the perfect pairing. So I would definitely say some game, definitely some game like duck.
There we go. People at the computer, what do you got for me?
Everybody wants to say thank you so much. They can't wait to try the wines. They're really excited to be able to have an opportunity to visit and try the wines.
There we go. There we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have Richard Tiedemann here from the Flora Springs Winery here in Napa Valley. Thank you so much for stopping by and talking with us and sharing
My pleasure.
the Flora Springs 2008 Trilogy.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. See y'all folks soon at Flora Springs.
There we go. I'm Alan Kropf, the Mutineer, with Taste Live and CellarPass here from the Napa Valley Film Festival, St. Helena Wine Pavilion at Carnegie Building. I almost got that down.
That's hot.
There we go. Thank you for
That's
joining
hot.
us. I'm sure we'll have some bonus features. This is like a documentary DVD in real time. If you can't wrap your heads around it, it's because it's that cool. Stay tuned, people. Let's do this.